A pleasure to meet all at last, and welcome back to Facecam Specials Insurgence, the Enlightening venture. And, well, look at what we got here. Planet Coaster is basically the new, well, piece that I got here to showcase for today. So basically speaking, well, Planet Coaster, well, console port, is basically a very belated thing right now because when I picked this thing up, it was pretty darn recent. I found out that this was also slated for a release for the PlayStation 5 in late 2020. So, basically speaking, Planet Coaster as a whole was made by Frontier, the same company that gave us a lot of other great games under the sort of theme park builder style. And I've played a lot of games back then, especially on PC and some other console ports out there. I've played things like Thrillville, Roller Coaster Tycoon, as well as the Sim series of games. One of them was called Sim Theme Park, and that was another thing that I played. But here, this is probably the most recent example of a theme park building sort of video game. Of course, I'll always have great memories for a lot of things out there, but as far as all of this goes, I mean, this is probably one of the most recent PlayStation 4 titles that I might have ever played. It came out on New Year's Eve 2020, so that is quite a while from, well, the first time Planet Coaster came out. It was first released by Frontier in 2016, so that's more than 4 years before it finally got a console release. So I'm still pretty grateful, though. The fact that they were finally able to make a console version of this game, it's pretty awesome. So, basically speaking, when it comes to roller coaster building games or theme park builder games out there, there's a lot to choose from. And I do love those kind of games, like, any day. I've played a lot of, well, builder sort of games out there, like, well, Dragon City, Jurassic World Builder, and many other things out there. Those builder games are certainly some of the best that I might have ever played my whole entire life. And this right here being a much more recent example certainly does hold on its own pretty well as far as I can tell. Of course, this is probably like some of the earliest known footage that I got of the game right now based on my official playthrough for KaijuForceNeo. So basically speaking, this is pretty much what you're going to be able to see right here. I'm currently trying to construct my own little theme park here to get through this sort of tutorials phase where it's basically wanting me to put in as much scenery as possible to help accent the different types of, well, cue lines and all that good stuff. Apparently scenery has a huge role in terms of how good feedback is registered here in the game, so I'd say that's a pretty good touch.
Admit it.
So, for the most part, okay, it looks like I can place that tower on top of the mountain and the cliffside. Okay. Let's see what else I can probably get. So, I'm certainly getting a lot of good memories based on all my experiences from Thrillville, Roller Coaster Tycoon, and all that good stuff. I mean, those are still pretty big, franchises in a way. Roller Coaster Tycoon actually has had some more recent ports put onto it, and, well, I can't really say that I might be willing to try and go back to that point in my time again, but then again, I mean, I already have this. It was made by the same company, Frontier, as Thrillville, pretty much. So, that's basically two whole franchises that we're getting right here. One's much older than the other, but the thing is, this newer one right here has a lot of great merits to it. Tons of similarities that you could find when you compare it to, well, some of the others in the industry, but out of all builder-based games, this one's probably got to be my favorite that's on PlayStation 4. And considering how PlayStation 4 seems to be my, well, one and only console that I tend to be using for GWK content or gaming content as a whole, this is probably my best, well, interpretation of how I could, well, gather a good playthrough here. I mean, there's a lot of things that you can pretty much do right here. You can adjust the loan. You can also do research that will allow you to figure out different rides that you can build. You can also look through the feedback of some guests here and there by individually clicking on them. can, of course, pan the camera around the entire park layout, and then, of course, mess around with a lot of stuff. So, of course, you could build scenery, build queue lines, set up some nice architecture, even fiddle around with the landscape. So, I mean, there's a lot that you can pretty much do here, and I'm more than grateful to finally have another game in my life where I could do all this kind of stuff. I mean, it's also really good to just take a step back in time to when I really was just a die-hard fan of some stuff like this. So, being that I'm 22 though, here in 2021, I can't necessarily say that I'm actually still happy about all that, because after all that I've been through here in, well, gaming with KaijuForceNeo since day one, the past 4 years certainly have been a lot different for me. In the world of gaming, there's been tons of possibilities, and there's only so much that you could probably piece together at once. So, I can't really say that I'm not grateful for any of this stuff, because, well, after all, I've had a lot of titles that I've played. I've been through tons of franchises that I didn't even think would be on PlayStation 4, but I'm starting to get the feeling that maybe every single franchise might be getting ported onto PlayStation 4, so this way, like, die-hard fans of most franchises out there, of all ages and of all categories, can pretty much get a good look at what things are like, pretty much. If I could name several franchises that I've already gotten myself some good experience on for PlayStation 4-based gaming, then I would probably have to include things like Metal Gear Solid, Transformers, Call of Duty, Wolfenstein, Doom, and, well, even Gran Turismo, pretty much. So the big thing here about Planet Coaster, so to speak, I mean, this is a whole different look that Frontier is pretty much giving us in the whole world of, well, PC and console gaming out there. Of course, since I'm doing console gaming, it has taken them a while to do this, like I said, and it took them at least 4 years for them to come up with a console port, which had then been released December 31st, 2020, which also would have been the release date for Dying Light 2 from Techland and Square Enix. I'm still pretty darn disappointed in that part. Yeah, I'm sorry, it's getting a little old. But that's just what happens, really. They push it back a full year after a slated release that they practically teased us with all this time. I mean, it's no wonder why I don't really feel as bad about it right now, because I did, after all, end up playing through the first Dying Light with some extra stuff in there, including the following. So, I guess that's probably all you need to know there. But, in a way, I can say that Planet Coaster is one of the many things that it really takes me back to the past. But it also gives me some time to really help myself with a lot of new possibilities that could be out on PlayStation 4 and I'm probably not aware of at this point. So, judging by what's happening right now, it looks like I have to put together some other pieces for the park. I've got, well, these little buildings right here where people can eat, drink, go to the restroom, pack some souvenirs and all that good stuff. It's definitely like the sort of aspects that you can get from a lot of other games of the same sort of caliber, pretty much. And that's what I pretty much appreciate here, that there's a lot of people in the industry that are practically competing against one another to pretty much figure out how things like this can take place. So, anyways, I'm getting close to the end of this segment, so be sure to, well, keep on watching me for other content, and also, if you want to see more, go down to my channel, including many other things.